Felix is put out into a swamp, where he encounters Pim, who introduces himself as a guide. Pim tells Felix that he won't be able to navigate this world without his help, and that it's best for him to follow Pim into, quote, civilization. We see that Pim, like the scientists, is also interested in Felix's bag. Felix notices strange creatures following them, but doesn't know what they represent. Pim explains that the creatures are harmless while they sleep in the trees, but when they mature, they consume everything that sticks to them. Notice that Felix briefly mistook Pim's lantern for the tear, or the princess. Finally, they arrive at a city, which Pim calls City of Progress, claiming it's the only city in these parts. We see that the city Pim describes is low vibrational. But why does Pim call it the City of Progress? Because in the demonic world, the lower astral, the rule of inversion applies. Everything bad is considered good, and everything good is considered bad. This is the rule of the lower astral or lower consciousness. Although Felix trusted Pim, Pim betrayed him and had been leading him into a trap all along. Pim throws Felix into a swamp, traps him in a plant-like creature, steals his magical bag, and sends him to a circus. The symbolism of this scene is as follows. We said that the swamp and the entire city of Zil represent the lower astral realm. Remember that Felix thought Pim's lantern was the tear he had been following to the Demence portal. Pim, or the lantern, is indeed a guide, just like the tear. But where does this guide come from? It comes from the lower astral. Although it shines, it is not pure and golden like the princess's tear, aka consciousness that the soul gave to the ego. And although it shines like the tear, notice that it did not lead Felix to a good place, but on the contrary, into slavery. Just as the soul gives the ego consciousness, the persona also gives the ego a guide. But such a guide always leads us into trouble, even if it doesn't seem that way at first. Pim seemingly helped Felix to find his way, guiding him temporarily before betraying and trapping him. How many times have you had situations in life where someone offered you something that pleased your persona? You bought that thing or achieved a goal set by your persona, followed that lantern, but in the end still felt empty despite achieving that goal. Notice that while Felix follows Pim, jellyfish jump out from all sides, lurking. This symbolizes that when you listen to false intuition, signs will appear along the way, and if you don't know how to interpret them, they will ruin you. How many times have you attended a seminar, listened to various speakers who told you things that might make sense, might sound logical, but weren't true? How many times have you heard a story that pleased your persona and your base desires? For example, in the dating world, if you're a man, you've heard it's natural for you to date multiple women, and all you need to do is buy their course to learn how. In the financial world, there's something called the cult of the megachurches, whose motto is God wants you to be rich. Of course, all they achieve is enriching themselves while others constantly give money and never manage to increase their income. How many times have you heard that you need to buy the most expensive car because it will elevate your social status and give you more comfortable life? When insecure people hear these things, they receive validation for their poor state while simultaneously feeling empowered, thinking they can improve their lives by becoming rich, having women or men swan over them, gaining many friends, and having the whole world admire the lifestyle. Using manipulative techniques and tactics, emotions are triggered in people, and they interpret those emotions as a sign from their soul pushing them to be better, bigger, faster, and stronger. Of course, this is false conscious, coming from the lower astral, as it always leads to slavery, endless purchases of things we don't need, wasting time, energy and money on various self-development seminars, overpriced supplements, techniques, etc. To master your emotions, you need to experience them and allow them to pass through you. I managed to do so through the Soul Athlete experience, and I suggest you try it as well. The link is in the profile description. Mastering your emotions is a key skill in the era we live in, because if we don't master this aspect, other people will control our emotions. And will think the emotions we feel aren't the result of marketing techniques, strategies and tactics, but rather our own intuition guiding us. This scene precisely explains how false conscious or intuition from the lower astral functions.